Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, the Hut, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut, and hopefully you like this video. And hit that subscribe button. As you know, we're 8 days away from the trading deadline in Major League Baseball, 6 p.m. on July 31st. I will be there with you for the last few hours before the ball drops. Hoping the Mets don't drop the ball. And we're going to really dive in deeply the next few days as we lead up. And there was a big rumor that came out today, huge rumor about the Mets and a very big pitcher. And this is San Diego Padres ace, Dylan Cease. But before we get into this video, you need to hit the subscribe button, like the video, leave comments. This is from SI. New York Mets in on surprise star trade candidate. New York Mets are reportedly among the teams that have discussed trading for this San Diego Padres starter. Okay, let's see what the article has to say. A surprise trade candidate has emerged just 8 days before the deadline, and appears the New York Mets have him on their radar. According to ESPN's Buster Only, who hates the Mets, you know that, known Met hater, the San Diego Padres opened the trade offers for right-handed starter Dylan Cease, who will be a free agent at season's end. The Mets are among the teams he mentioned as having discussed him. He reads the tweet. His prize name is emerged in the starting pitcher market. Dylan Cease will be eligible for free agency at the year's end. Perception of other teams that the Padres are intent on making a push for the playoffs and would use Cease to help fill other roster needs, which is interesting. That they would do that, especially that they'd be competing with a wild card. Cease, who's 29, has never made an All-Star team, but has finished in the top 5 and Cy Award voting twice during his 7-year career. Through 21 starts this season, he is 3-10 with a 4.59 ERA, 144 strikeouts over 113 2/3 innings. So he's not pitched well. That's interesting too. You get him on the cheap. The Padres, 55-47, entered Wednesday sitting in the third wild card spot in the National League. They reportedly remain focused on making a push for the playoffs, but would consider using Cease to help address other roster needs. Now, I'm not a Padres fan. I don't know what their needs are. Currently, left field and catcher are San Diego's biggest needs. Both of the Mets' Major League corner outfield spots are tied to players on long-term deals, the great Juan Soto and Brandon Nimmo, but they do have a near Major League ready prospect, Drew Gilbert, waiting in AAA. New York's catching situation has been complicated this year due to up and down performances from Francisco Alvarez and Luis Torrens. I would say this, and I haven't been around. Luis Torrens, we know what he is now. This is why he's been bouncing around all these different organizations for the last 6-7 years. He's not a very good hitter, The 23-year-old Alvarez spent nearly a month in AAA working through mechanical adjustments before being recalled on Monday, sending defensive specialist Hayden Singer back down. And of course, Alvarez has come back swinging, which he kind of was hoping that would happen, and that did happen. He's done a great job in the couple of games. It is plausible to think San Diego would ask for one of the Mets' backstops or package, though it is unclear if New York would be comfortable parting with one. We're going to head to next year. The Padres could use another right side infielder or additional DH option with Luis Ariz hitting free agency, and the Mets have plenty to offer there. Will Salmon of The Athletic reported Monday that the Mets are willing to deal from their Major League infield depth. They have 4 young infielders, Mark Vientos, Brett Beatty, Ronnie Mauricio, and Luis Angel Acuna vying for playing time at second base and third base when Jeff McNeil plays center field. I've been hearing that Vientos is a possibility. It would only make sense for the Mets to consolidate that group if it helps them elsewhere, especially on the mound. They need multiple relievers to supplement a bullpen until that has been decimated by injuries, and could also use a top-end starter to raise the ceiling of a rotation that has had trouble staying healthy and providing length. We know that. The relievers have pitched more innings than the Mets starters, and that is bad news. That is bad news. And it seems like it seems to be getting worse. Last year the Mets starters were not very good the first 2 months, and it took them a while to start getting length out. The one guy that's been giving them length on a consistent basis has been David Peterson. But the rest of the rotation has been very iffy, and it's difficult when you're trying to ease in Sean Manaea, who pitched pretty good today, and Kodai Senga back in the rotation. It's very difficult to have guys that are high-end starters, and they're doing that. Very difficult. But Dylan Cease was discussed somewhat in the offseason, especially at the end of the offseason on this channel. We talked about him. I would have no issues about them bringing him in there. And a lot of it would be to just get length out of this rotation. Get these guys into the 6th and 7th inning. And he's a guy he's a number one starter. Now, he struggled this year. Obviously, I haven't dove into the numbers. But it's a very high year, right? He's probably giving up a lot of home runs. I haven't looked at the numbers, like I said. I'm sure he's giving up home runs. Probably the walk rate is probably higher than it's been. It's always the same stuff for the most part. But that is an interesting name. A couple other names that are out there that could be brought in. Zach Gallen, I know that's been discussed. And, of course, Merrill Kelly. Those are names to keep an eye on if the Mets are interested in getting a start. Now, David Stearns mentioned that he was looking at the bullpen and to a lesser extent looking at a center fielder. We'll have to see. He's a very conservative general manager. Well, I will say that. So that to me is a bit of an issue. That he's so very conservative. But he believes in two things. He believes in pitching, improving the pitching, and making sure that your team is able to catch the ball. I mean, we saw against the Angels how poorly they played defensively. I mean, their defense basically lost them that series against the Mets. Plus, the bad umpiring on Wednesday didn't help either. But, David Stearns is all about run prevention and getting good pitching. I don't think they're going to be bringing in any big bat. I would mention that. I'd like to see him get another hitter in here. If you can score more runs than the other team, you do it. They do have some issues with the roster. The 40-man roster plus what they have behind the 40-man roster in the minor leagues. I think there's going to be a lot of clutter. There's going to be a lot of changes to the Mets roster. Going from this year into next year. They got a lot of guys that are going to be, are going to be forcing their way on the 40-man roster. And we have guys that are out of options like Mark Vientos. If the Mets could have sent him down, they would have sent him down to improve his play, to get him out of here for a couple of weeks. But that didn't happen because he has no options. So that makes it difficult. Well, you let me know what you think about this video. Of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.